So in today's video, we're going to be talking about the 5 biggest pros and the 5 biggest cons about living in Tucson, Arizona's northwest side. That would be Marana and Oro Valley. So we're going to be talking about the good, the bad, the ugly. So go ahead and get something to take some notes with because we're getting after it right now. Hey, what's up everybody? This is Paul Dunn. I'm a local real estate agent with eXp Realty, and I'm also a mortgage originator with Nexa Mortgage. So basically, I've got you covered on both sides of the ball if you're thinking about making that move here to Tucson. Now, if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about eating, sleeping, working, hanging, and just living in the old Pueblo, then go ahead and click that little subscribe button, tap that little bell, and you'll be among the first to be notified every time I drop a new video. Now, Darci and I get calls every single day from folks just like you who are doing a little bit of research and thinking about making that move here to Tucson, and we absolutely love it. So if Tucson's on your radar, then go ahead and shoot us a text message, give us a call, email, whatever, reach out to us any way you can. Heck, you can even use that link down below to schedule a one-on-one Zoom call because we got your back when making that move to Tucson. Now, Darci and I have lived in Northwest Tucson for the last 18 years, and we absolutely love it. But we know that it ain't for everybody. So what we're gonna do today is do a deep dive into Northwest Tucson and talk about the 5 biggest pros and the 5 biggest cons of Northwest Tucson. And let's dig in right now. So pro number 1 of Northwest Tucson is going to be the variety of housing options, right? So right now, Northwest Tucson is the fastest growing part of Tucson. And when we talk about the Northwest area, we're talking about really Oro Valley and Marana and lumping them together. Now, one of the reasons why it's growing so fast is there's just a lot of area that makes up about 160 square miles. So you might be able to find a single family home in the low to mid 300s, but if you're in the multiple 7 figures, you definitely will be able to find some of those as well. Now, something that's really cool about the Northwest area is the location and the proximity to the mountains, because chances are, if you find a home in that area, you may be able to find a home with a great view. As far as home styles, you've got everything from manufactured homes to something that's modern, something that's contemporary. Mid-century modern is pretty popular as well. And you've got the Santa Fe style, the Spanish colonial, as well as the Mediterranean style homes out there as well. Now, if you're looking for something with a little bit less maintenance, you've got townhomes and condos, and most of those are going to be in the Oro Valley area and probably with good views as well, ranging anywhere from the 200s on up to the mid 800s. Now, there are actually quite a bit of active 55 plus adult communities as well. And some of the amenities that you'll find at these communities might be golf courses, clubhouses, sports leagues. I know that some of them have pickleball leagues, and they do host an awful lot of events. And really what they do is they do a real fine job of getting everybody out of their homes and meeting the other folks in the neighborhood. As far as pricing in these communities, you're gonna find anything from the mid 300s, maybe the low 300s, on up to the mid high 800s. But something else that you'll find out in Oro Valley and Marana is you've got a lot of luxury golf course homes as well. Now, homes in these communities tend to have larger lots, they tend to have their own pools, they'll have either mountain or golf views, or maybe both, and they'll have high-end finishes as well. Now, if the golf course luxury home is your style, expect to be paying somewhere in the 7 figures. And there's an awful lot of new builds in Northwest Tucson as well. Now, if you're looking out in the Gladden Farms area, you might be able to find something for the mid 300s. Else, you're going to be looking at the mid 400s on up into that 7-figure range. While growth brought us to pro number 1, it is also going to lead us to con number 1, and that is the potential for urban sprawl. You see, as Northwest Tucson continues to develop, we're going to see more housing, more apartments, more commercial businesses come in, and the need for more infrastructure projects. And while this might mean more amenities, more services, and more jobs, it also could mean more noise, more disruption, and even worse traffic. Now, if we're driving from Marana all the way on up to Phoenix on I-10, you're going to notice an awful lot of commercial construction going on both sides of the freeway. But I want to point out to you right now that on the west side of the freeway, they are building 2 1.7 million square foot industrial projects. And just off the Twin Peaks exit, there's an awful lot more commercial construction going on. They just finished building a huge car dealership. They're building an American furniture warehouse. They're putting up some more apartments, a couple car washes, and there's another subdivision going in just around that corner as well. Now, with huge growth going on like this, we're surely to see properties appreciate, but it also has the potential for an increased cost of living. And pro number 2 is going to be all the natural beauty and the outdoor activities that you have access to here in the northwest part of Tucson. You see, the Sonoran Desert really does have an awful lot of natural beauty. In the wintertime, you'll see that the Santa Catalina Mountains will be snow-capped. In the summertime after the monsoon, they turn a lush green, and it really almost seems like you're driving around the mountains of Maui. And then we've got hundreds of different variety of cacti as well, and they all have their own special kind of flowering, and they don't typically last too long, but those flowers are a little waxy and they're really cool. Now, the cactus that we're most well known for is the saguaro, and that's the one with the arms. And when that one blooms, it's usually late April. What it does is it gets all the bulbs around its head, and that's where it blooms. It's really cool to see. But the number one thing is going to be the killer Sonoran sunsets. Nothing even comes close. Now, if outdoor activities are your thing, I'm talking hiking, mountain biking, dirt biking, the buggies, or trail running, any of those things, you've got a ton of trails going all around Northwest Tucson. If you're a bird watcher, Tucson has over 500 different varieties of birds, so it's kind of a paradise for you. And I can't leave this section without talking about golf. You see, we have some of the highest rated golf courses in the entire state. You'll find the Gallery at Dove Mountain, you'll find the Club at Dove Mountain, and you'll also find the Oro Valley Country Club. Now, con number 2 is going to be the cost of living. You see, it's a little bit higher in Northwest Tucson than Tucson Metro. Now, if you think about the national average being 100, then the cost of living in general in Tucson is going to come in at 96, and housing in Tucson at 93. And then if you drive on up to Marana, you're going to see the cost of living coming in at about 108, which is higher than the national average, and housing coming in at 123, which is quite a bit higher than the national average. And then if you head just a little bit east over to Oro Valley, it's going to get a little bit higher, where the cost of living is going to come in at about 111 and the cost of housing at 136. That being said, both job growth and higher paying jobs in Northwest Tucson are expected to be greater than they are in Metro Tucson. And that's driven mainly by technology and healthcare. Now, pro number 3 is going to be health and wellness. You see, the northwest part of Tucson, especially Oro Valley, gets a lot of recognition because of its focus on health, wellness, the quality of life, and that's really a big reason why a lot of folks move into Tucson choose the northwest area. In Oro Valley, you've got a couple full-service hospitals that get great accolades. You've got the Oro Valley Hospital as well as the Northwest Medical Center. Now, there's also quite a bit of specialty medical centers, wellness centers, and spas that focus on longevity services. Con number 3 is the limited nightlife. You know, we hear it all the time that the nightlife in the northwest part of Tucson is just lacking a little bit. And while there are places in Oro Valley and Marana that you can go to see live music and to go dancing, there's really not a whole bunch, not like you're going to find in downtown Tucson. So if you're looking for dance clubs or a variety of places to go listen to different kinds of live music, and maybe you're looking for the hip young scene, maybe Northwest Tucson isn't your thing. But the good news is, if you end up living in Northwest Tucson, then downtown Tucson is a quick ride down I-10, and there's lots of Uber services or Lyft services that you can use to get down there and back safely. And pro number 4 is a sense of community. You see, while Marana and Oro Valley are both considered Northwest Tucson, each is a different town and each has a real different type of community. Now, they each do some really cool events. For instance, Oro Valley does the Friday night concert series down at the Steam Pump. And there, the music's free, but they bring in food trucks and beer trucks. And Marana does something similar, the Chillin' at the Chill, which is a Friday night concert series as well. Now, con number 4, allergies. Man, in the springtime, when the weather starts to get a little bit warmer and that wind starts to blow, you're going to see that the mesquite trees, they start to bloom, as well as the Palo Verde trees, they start to bloom with those bright yellow flowers. And man, that pollen, when the wind blows, gets all over everything, causes a mess in the pool too, by the way. And that stuff is just brutal for allergies. I mean, there's been springs where I go outside and I feel like I just got hit by clubber lang, if you know what I mean. Now, rumor has it that if you eat the local raw Tucson honey, that you may be able to skip allergies altogether and they won't hit you. Now, pro number 5 is going to be the excellent schools. Now, education is a cornerstone of any thriving community, right? And it's no different here in Northwest Tucson. And the schools here put an emphasis on positive learning, that encourages growth and creativity. Now, Northwest Tucson is served by Amphitheater School District, which, if you do a little bit of research, you're going to find out is one of the highest rated school districts in the state. And in Oro Valley, you're going to find Ironwood Ridge High School, which is where my kids graduated from, and you're also going to find Canyon Del Oro High School too. Now, both those high schools do a great job with academics and a high graduation rate, and they both have fantastic sports programs. Now, in Marana, you're going to find Mountain View High School, which has great academics and some really good sports programs, and you're also going to find Marana High School. It's a little bit further up, but they're getting some great accolades for their technology focus. Now, in the Oro Valley Marana area, there's also a lot of STEM schools as well. So in Northwest Tucson, it's clear that education is taking a priority in the community. So if you are planning to make a move with the little kiddos or planning to start a family, then both Marana and Oro Valley should be on your list. Now, con number 5, man, it's that summertime heat. Now, we all know it can get brutally hot here, right? In June, July, August, it's not unusual to get days over 100 or even over 110. So I'm sure you've heard the term dry heat, right? So what exactly does that mean? Well, basically, if you're in an area like Northwest Tucson where it's 100 degrees and maybe the humidity is at 12-13%, it doesn't feel as hot as if you're someplace where maybe it's 80-85 degrees and you're talking about 60-70-80% humidity and you're dripping with sweat, and that's just brutal. That's miserable. So really, 100 degrees and dry is a lot more comfortable than 80-85 and very humid. And I remember back when we lived in Seattle, when it would hit 80 degrees, it was super uncomfortable. So now 100 degrees in the dry heat, not a big deal. And when that summertime heat hits and you really need something to keep you cool, if you're living in one of the Northwest Tucson neighborhoods, you're probably going to find that they've got just that. I mean, there's an awful lot of ice cream trucks that drive around and you can hear that ice cream truck music all over the place. And man, the kids flock to those. It's actually kind of fun. So if you really need to get out of the heat, then all you got to do is drive up to Mount Lemmon, and you're going to find that it's going to be 75, maybe 80 degrees up there bonus, and it gives you a nice chance to cool off. And if you got to get away for a couple of days, then do what we do. We pack up the trailer and we head on up to the Mogollon Rim, where it looks and feels an awful lot like the forest that we knew and loved in Washington State, where there's a lot of hiking, a lot of fishing, and a lot of green, a lot of pine trees too. Well, I hope that gave you a little bit of insight into living in Northwest Tucson. And if you are thinking about making that move here to Northwest Tucson, or really any part of Tucson, then go ahead and give us a call, shoot us a text message, shoot us an email, use that link down below and schedule a one-on-one Zoom, because Darci and I we get calls every single day from folks just like you who are doing a little bit of research and planning that move to Tucson, and we absolutely love it. So we got your back when making that move to Tucson, and we'll see you in the next video.